Western media. And when I say Western media, I mean Fox News. I mean the Daily Wire. I mean X platforms that are now owned by the second richest man in the world. We don't get, you think you're getting information off of X or TikTok that's not censored? Think again. You're not getting all the information. None of us are. None of us are getting it. So when the job was offered to go into Gaza, it was not a military contract. The aspects of what we would be doing was explained to that we are going in there to take over what the UN was doing. So, I mean, the fact that the UN and UNRWA were not going in, I mean, I knew that. We all knew that. What are any of us going to do about that? So the option was do nothing and allow, I mean, UNRWA and the UN still aren't allowed in. Even during the ceasefire, they did a trickle for about 2 days, and now they stopped them again. Who has control to end that? No one in this room. So my thought on it was, you can be part of a solution or do nothing. So my thought on it was, I want to go and help people. I want to go feed people. So that's why I went.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Sorry. I had a question. You said that originally it wasn't, or it's not a military contract, but you stated that the client is the IDF. How does that, what is like the, I guess mine is more a logistical question. How does that work if you're quote unquote providing humanitarian aid, but like the person contracting you is the IDF? What type of contract is that? Like, I'm sorry, I'm just like, yeah.
I understand
Yeah.
your question. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, the simple answer to your question is that it's not humanitarian aid. It's criminal. The reason I came out and had to tell the world about this is because it's not right. It's not humanitarian assistance. It's not humanitarian aid. You cannot have humanitarian assistance privatized under a contract with the military that is complicit in the crimes that are being committed. Absolutely, it's a disaster. It is a failure. So seeing those things, when I got hired, I didn't get hired by the GHF. I got hired by 3 rings down in the totem pole, UG Solutions. I had no vision of, no access to what all this was. This is your job, you do this. When I got there, literally going in to Gaza and seeing the operational map that the IDF had, and looking at it, it was like, oh man, this is not humanitarian aid. And then going back and saying, okay, you want me to plan delivery, what about the water? At no point going into delivery of humanitarian aid would anyone have ever thought that it was a given that we're not going to get water. And that was a shock to me. They didn't say like, hey, come on and deliver aid, we're not getting water, you still want to come in? They didn't give us any of that information. There was no information provided prior to the contract going in. And again, this went from, we won the contract, we're going in. When we got into Israel on the 19th of May, there was nothing set up, there was nothing operating, there was nothing. We built it from nothing. And to me, that was the first time I became aware that the process was under a contract. I didn't know that. Nobody knew that. None of us knew that. Even now, the United States government is still trying to figure out where the $30 million that they gave as a grant, where that money went. Yeah, it's a mystery. I don't know the answer, but I couldn't be a part of it anymore, and I feel that my duty is to make people aware of it. But yeah, it's not humanitarian aid. It's not humanitarian aid distribution. It is It is a farce. It is a failure. And it has failed. The GHF is gone. They're no longer operating.
Can I just add to that, if you don't mind? It's not just a failure, it's setting a really dangerous precedent for what's going to be the future of humanitarian aid. Not just privatization, but militarization. What does this mean for, are aid workers going to be replaced? Are we going to have to work within the parallels of mercenaries now? There's a difference between, again, security. I've had them in my own distributions versus this militarized version of what happened at GHF. I've worked with military to do distributions. Again, different context. When people come at aid sites, they're not, the whole point that they would come is because they feel safe enough to do so. But what's happening in Gaza is it's survival. The urge to, it's like the wildebeest trying to cross the river when they know there are crocodiles in there. But the urge to get to the other side to get the food is what's driving them. So they will take the danger. This is exactly how they set it up in Gaza. And what does this mean for the future? We've already seen not only just the future of aid work, but the future of any type of military action. Israel has completely obliterated international humanitarian law and rules of war. It's done. I don't even teach about it anymore. I quit. I told them, I cannot teach. I present for the American Red Cross on rules of war and IHL. I told them no more. They're mocking it. How am I going to sit here in front of a crowd and teach about it? And all they do is ask me questions about accountability. What's happening in Israel? Who's going to do something about it? I tell them, I have no idea. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know. So, sorry, just want that.
And we are short on time, so just one more final question. And is this the one? It's fine. Just one more final question, and it's a bit more broad about. You often repeated the fact that it was the IDF that engaged in such crimes, but did American contractors ever engage in this violence as well? And has this made you change your philosophy that I think many people who go into the services believe as the U.S. being a quote-unquote world police? Has this made you understand the perspectives of prior use engagements, including that of Iraq and any other place you may have served at the time? And has this made you understand perspective to which you may have previously been antagonistic to?
Yeah, sorry, let me just add, just like as a room of like a lot of Muslims and Palestinians and experiencing the horrors of the Iraq war, so we just want you to elaborate on that.
I will be one of the first to say that the wars in Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan have been failures. Failures in American policy, failures in world strategy and security, failures. Wars that were started because of Islamophobia, hatred, prejudice, the rich get richer. But to understand my background, I joined the Army when I was 17. We weren't fighting in any wars when I joined the Army. We weren't. We weren't in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria when I joined the Army. We were not fighting. When 9/11 happened, and then the decision was to go into Afghanistan, that was supposed to be a very quick and decisive operation. Create the Northern Alliance, overthrow the Taliban, put in a new government, we're gone. We stayed for 20 years. Failed foreign policy. Failed. Not only did we fail the people of Afghanistan, we ruined their lives. Iraq, weapons of mass destruction. At the time, with the information that we all had, or at least from my perspective, going into Iraq to find these weapons of mass destruction, they didn't exist. I searched every inch of Iraq and there wasn't weapons of mass destruction. Never were there. what it's opened up my eyes to now, do I regret serving in the military? No, I do not. Because what's important to understand is that as a United States Army officer, I was not enlisted. I was not a grunt. I was not a non-commissioned officer. As an officer, when we are commissioned, my oath is very simple. I, Anthony Aguilar, swear to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I take this obligation freely. Period. I don't take an oath to a president. I don't take an oath to Congress. I don't take an oath to the Army. I don't take an oath to a political party. And I don't take an oath to a foreign government. Seeing now what I witnessed in Gaza and what is happening to Palestinians and what has been happening to Palestinians, now it's opened up my eyes to the greater suffering and the oppression, not just October 7th and not just October 6th and 5th. Hundreds of years of oppression. Back to the Balfour Agreement, the Balfour Accord. Our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and the southern Philippines are wars of modern colonialism. That's a fact. We go and we never leave. We go and we never leave. We're still in Iraq. We're still in Afghanistan. I know we all think we left. We didn't. We're still there. We're in Syria. We're all over. So, has it changed my perspective of how I see American foreign policy and America's place in the world? Absolutely. I do not regret serving my country. I regret serving the leaders of our country at the time. Bush, Obama, Biden, Trump. Because they have led us into wars of colonialism with no end. And what I want to tell everybody now from my experience, telling you, before we sing Jingle Bells this year, the United States will be at war with Venezuela. Period. I'm not making a guess. We will. Period. Striking boats off the coast of Venezuela. Allowing now the CIA to go in and operate to identify land targets. We just moved the USS Ford, the most advanced nuclear aircraft carrier in the world. Where did we move it from? The Mediterranean. I thought Iran was such a threat. I thought all these Arab countries were such a threat. Why would we move our most valuable asset against our most dangerous enemy? To Venezuela. We did it. Islam, the Arab world, is not the threat. We are the threat. We are the threat. The United States, the United Kingdom, Israel. And today, we just recalled the USS Fort Lauderdale from Florida back to the Caribbean. We have just assembled a carrier strike group in the Caribbean. What do you think we do that for? A picnic? No. We additionally just moved in the SP MAGTF, Special Purpose Marine Amphibious Assault Group Task Force. Marines have one job: ship to shore, invade. Period. That's what they do. We will be at war in Venezuela before Christmas. Guarantee it. Which is why I want to talk to people in America that, from my experience and what I've seen and what I'm sharing with you, blame me all you want. I can look at myself in the mirror. What I'm asking you to do is wake up and do something. We all need to wake up and do something. We will be at war. And when we start a war in Venezuela, what do you think China's going to do? They're going to take Taiwan. And then we're really effed. And then when that happens, because we will not put Israel in their place, and they've pissed off the entire region, 2 weeks ago today, 2 weeks ago, Saudi Arabia signed an arms agreement with Pakistan. Pakistan is the 5th largest nuclear arsenal in the world. Israel was worried about Iran getting nukes? You just pissed off the wrong neighbor. So when we don't stop Israel from what they're doing, and they drop a bomb in Jordan or Lebanon, or God forbid they strike Qatar again, we will go to war. Who's going to take Israel's side? We will. And who's going to take the other side? The world. We have to wake up, and we have to hold our leaders accountable. We cannot survive another Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. We can't. If we fight the Arab world as a coalition, and we fight China, we will not be fighting cells of terrorists with AK-47s and roadside bombs. We will be fighting countries that have Generation 5 aircraft that will shoot our aircraft out of the sky. We will be fighting navies that have aircraft carriers that will sink the USS Ford. 5,000 sailors will die in an instant. It's coming. It's coming. So I'm willing to put myself out there from my experience of 25 years in the Army to show you what's happening. It's happening. It's happening. And if we don't do something about it, like I said before, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Benjamin Netanyahu, they will not fight in that war. Who will? We will. There will be a draft. My son will fight in a war that isn't our war. Israel dragged us into Iraq. Israel dragged us into Afghanistan. Israel dragged us into Syria. Not because we were resistant. Oh, we had leaders that went right along with it. And they're doing it again. They're doing it again. Instead of taking over the Arab world, we're going to take over the global south. It's happening. Watch the news. Even on Fox. When Fox News is telling you the truth, you know it's bad. It's coming.